I don't have anything formally prepared for you guys, but I just wanted to comment a little bit on the CNU project and the impact on Stonelake, specifically to traffic. I know earlier, I think it was this week, I can't remember so much information, that the traffic engineer had made a report and a statement that pretty much said that right now traffic will only increase in Elk Grove, and there's really kind of no way out. We're going to be, we have a lot of new businesses coming in, open spaces, and now this is a huge project, biggest project Elk Grove's ever undertaken if it gets approved. And my concern as a resident is when I moved here 20 years ago, basically from West Elk Grove to where I lived over on Sheldon, maybe 15 to 20 minutes if I hit every light. Now it's about 45 minutes. And even with the new overpass going from Elk Grove Boulevard to Consumnes River Drive, that's like my new shortcut to get over to the east side. Still quite a bit of traffic over there by CRC and Target. And my concern is, as we are, doing future planning for the city, how do we absorb this traffic? Because it's getting bad. I was in Anaheim 2 weeks ago, and all I could think of was, oh my gosh, this is what we're going to look like. We're getting really close to it because we're there already. And then with respect to the project at CNU and the new plans that were submitted, another concern was this sports complex that they're putting in 5 stories, 1-story parking garage, and it's going to be looking over homes, basketball courts, tennis, racquetball, and this is in the middle of a residential neighborhood. I just want to stress that this is huge uptaking of a 12-story building. Now it's 12 now, at 271 feet, according to the new plans, in the middle of a residential neighborhood. And, you guys all know, one side we have the preserve, the other side we have some small businesses, residences, and then residences on the other 3 sides. And just my concern is it's just not going to fit in. It's not going to feel very Elk Grove out there. It's going to feel more downtownish, and that's, there's nothing wrong with us continuing to be a bedroom community. That's why we moved here, a lot of us. We wanted to not be in the urban Sacramento area, but still have all the benefits and coming to Elk Grove and, dealing with that. And I just feel like we're kind of headed towards the wrong direction. I'd really like you guys all to consider just the traffic. It's not good anymore. It's such a big difference between 20 years ago and now. Just to get from Stonelake to Target's a 20-minute drive. And that's what I have for you guys today. Thank you.
Thank you. I have been here 10 years now, but I have family that has been here since the 1930s. So I'm very acquainted with what has changed from Elk Grove from the 1930s to now. And my concern is, of course, the CNU hospital, proposed hospital, and the monstrosity that they want to put up on that property. And I'm hoping that the members of this committee, although I know you don't do the final approvals, you do make the recommendations, I understand, that you look at everything, that you look at the people and what the people want and what is really needed here. If Dignity Health doesn't think that they even need a 200-bed hospital, and they've been doing this for many years, how can anybody in their right mind think we need a 400-bed hospital with all of the things that this individual who has never done a hospital, who runs a small school, who has, as far as we can find, no financing, and thinks he's going to get it done in 3 years. Now, if he can get it done in 3 years, that's amazing. But what bothers me is that the underhanded way it's been presented to us and the lies that have been told to us by members of the community's government, including the mayor, including other people that work for him. And I'm only hoping that your commission will look themselves in the eye in the mirror and say, I'm not going to be one of those people. And that's what I have to say to you, is please be ethical about this, because we have seen, and it has been proven, that there's a lot of unethical behavior with response to this hospital, and including Alvin Chung, who is running it?
I wanted to talk about, at this portion, about some of the things that, because we're not going to get a lot of time moving forward. The plans, official plans were submitted. We've seen the official plans now, and so since we only get 3 minutes when this comes to everybody, I just want to talk about what we expected when we moved to Stonelake. And our community was an AKT community, and I printed something from one of their other communities that they're developing right now regarding master plan communities. What does it mean to live in a master plan? Simply put, it means living in a space defined by vision, meticulous planning, and a dedicated understanding of the needs of future residents. That's what we all bought. We checked zoning. The zoning did not have a hospital on it. So we did our due diligence. We moved there. We expected that if something is zoned a certain way, there might be small modifications. We've had some of those. We had something that changed, I think, from a small low density to medium or something like that. People talked, but they didn't lose their minds. It's not like having something like this. And now that we see the plans, this is not even, the hospital isn't even the biggest part of it. It's every inch of that area over there, it seems like, is being built on. Now we know why they were so anxious to change the land use to employment center. And it isn't because they wanted to change the zoning. I found out that it's because there's something called an FAR, and they can't put the big giant monstrosity there unless it's an employment center. And the fact that the city and everyone was agreed to basically backdoor that's what everybody here is talking about. It's if we wouldn't have caught that, and if we didn't have people that had their eyes open and that were willing to say no, that wasn't even that wasn't voted on, or that wasn't recommended. Now I'd like to ask that as we proceed with anything that's coming up with planning, that's going to be kind of rolled in, and there are a couple items I'm going to speak on later regarding some of the things that are on tonight's agenda. But when there are things that have to do with that area, I think that everyone is in agreement with me that they shouldn't be rolled into some other plan, that we shouldn't have to feel like we have to all be city planners just to stop this huge, gigantic, ginormous change in our community. So, and somebody brought up Dignity Health. I was there the other night when they announced at the chamber mixer that they're going to be proceeding, and I'm very excited about that. And when I looked at their brochure, I saw all of the things that they do to give back. And I'm excited to have them as a community partner. The way that we've been treated by CNU so far is so bad, I can't imagine it's going to get any better if they get to move forward.
I'm a resident of West Elk Grove for about 10 years now, and I moved there, like others have said, that hospital was, before I moved there, before even the medical school went there, and there was no idea of a hospital, and no one was telling the neighbors about it. And if there was ever going to be a hospital there, I would never move there. Thank you for your consideration.
No big surprise, I'm also here to talk about the CNU hospital project. I also saw the new plans that came out yesterday, and they were concerning, as they have been this whole time. Things are changing, things are growing. In response to the community saying, hey, wait a second, slow down, talk to us, they're like, no, we're just going to build something bigger and, in your face. It's unbelievable, the tact that Alvin Chung and CNU have taken. Now it looks like this is going to be a 12-story hospital with an additional 7-story patient tower. There's going to be 3 parking structures, including one with a playground on the top of it for the students who are housed in the 5-story dormitory that houses 300 students, only allotting 150 parking spaces for those 300 students, which in that area is ridiculous because we do not have a high walkability score at all. So chances are those students are all going to need parking spaces as well. That's going to flow over into our community. Not to mention, we're right next to Stonelake's National Wildlife Refuge. I can't even imagine how anybody could think that that's okay to put that huge building, that huge facility, which may lead to an even greater biotech district, next to a wildlife preserve. And they're talking about building basement parking. So now we're digging into the ground. How is that going to affect the noise output for listed species? I know that there are going to be reports coming out on this, but it's really concerning. This is not just a NIMBY thing. This is about the balance of nature and humanity. And it's about proper planning, which I know you guys are really supportive of, because if I may quote, a very wise man talked about shoehorning a particular use into a residential area. This is what that is. I believe this same wise man also said the thing about conditional use permits is it's always a paramount thing for me is the character of the area. Conditional use has to comport with the character of the area, and I'm afraid this one does not. And if I may repeat those words back to you that you referred to with the Buddhist monastery, equally applies here. Thank you for your consideration.
Hi, I'm Daisy Hughes, a spokesperson of N.E.S.T, that's Neighbors Ensuring Stonelake Transparency. I last spoke to the commission, and actually for my first time speaking to the commission, on February 21st. And at that time, I expressed my concern as a resident of West Elk Grove, and my concern mostly about the lack of transparency surrounding the CNU hospital proposal. At that time, we were very worried about backdoor dealings, seeing as how the city was making a very public display with its announcement that it seemed to be in support of the CNU hospital. At the February 27th City Council meeting, that was a really critical turning point for us. A lot of the community came out and spoke at that City Council meeting. We heard from 2 commissioners as well, and it was very nice to see Madam Chairperson and Mr. Murphy there expressing concerns about the general plan. At that time, certainly there were some things in that general plan that were surprising, and the City Council made the right decision at that meeting on February 27th. That proposed revisions to the zoning code and general plan that could materially impact the CNU hospital project, that those things were to be removed. So they are no longer in the general plan. The City Council found that rather than, by doing that, they were making sure that it wasn't going to be as much backdoor dealings, and that it would really go through the appropriate process in the light of day as to whether or not Elk Grove should have this hospital at that location. And then again, on March 13th, the City Council made the right decision and removed revisions to the floodplain overlay zone from the zoning code amendments at that time, because those changes would have made it easier to build a hospital in a floodplain. Unfortunately, now that the capital improvement program is pending before you, a wave of concern, even outrage, is occurring in West Elk Grove because of the recent revelation that the city or city officials intend to build a biodistrict in West Elk Grove. How was this revealed to us? By digging through city officials' email. Darren Doan, the Economic Development Director, was emailing Alvin Chung, the CNU CEO, for years. And Gerald Doan mentioned his intention to create a biodistrict in West Elk Grove. These emails between him and Mr. Chung discuss pharmaceutical manufacturing at the CNU campus and opening wet labs nearby. In a recent article in the Elk Grove Citizen on April 12th online, it looks like I have it here today, April 18th in print on the front page about these emails. And in this article, Darren Doan defends himself from being accused of being a, quote, devious mastermind who dreamed up this plot to ruin West Elk Grove, end quote. Those are his words.
If you could wrap up.
Yes, absolutely. And he defends himself by saying, quote, as far as the biodistrict, quote, it's something I hope becomes part of West Elk Grove's future one day. And I will continue during the agenda item 6.2. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.